Hello, everyone. Welcome to Broadway's Calling, your home for up-close and personal portraits of your favorite Broadway stars and the place to find out where they were when they first got the call to be on Broadway. This week, we celebrate a lot of things, and one of them is the 33rd anniversary of the Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. Oh, I love that beginning of that show. It's so exciting. Well, our guest this week is Tony Award winner Antony Crivello. Antony joins us to share his time as the masked man in the Las Vegas run of Phantom of the Opera, as well as his Broadway journey in the original cast of, there's Les Mis, Evita, Kiss of the Spider Woman, Golden Boy, on and on. We'll talk about all of them, and we'll find out a little bit more about him working on Marie Christine with Audra McDonald. Now, be sure to subscribe so that YouTube will continue to suggest our videos for all of the Broadway fans and beyond, y'all. And please, can somebody click the bell for a brother? Click the bell. Click it. Click that bell. Do I have to make up another song for Click That Bell? You better click that bell. Click the bell. Click that bell for your brother. Click that bell. Click the bell. Click that bell for your brother. That's me. Anyway, I've lost it. It's a snowstorm coming here. We're going to be stuck in for 3 days with beautiful snow. So I already have the cabin fever. So I'm already singing. Well, just know that your click helps us a ton because they like, oh, the algorithms, oh, we're going to share it because people are into it. So we love that. Well, this week, we also would like to celebrate the legendary careers of Miss Cicely Tyson and Miss Cloris Leachman. They were both in their 90s when they transitioned, but they have paved the way through many administrations and marches and causes and collected an astonishing amount of fans and awards along the way. I just want to say, as a youngster in the 1970s, Cicely Tyson, she mesmerized me. Particularly, there was this one moment in Sounder when she sees Paul Winfield come home, and that yell from her is so amazing. Well, here's a look at her film and television career.
You will always be my generous baby girl, whether you like it or not.
You know, Miss Ruth was a lady. And a lady always knows when to leave.
But I gotta see him, Mr. Sheriff. You ain't gotta see me.
We just got to get back to reality.
The reality is that Westside Prep School is doing what we built it to do, Clarence.
Talk to the young.
We don't have that kind of time, Miss Jane.
What else you got, Jim?
Got the strength God gave us women to survive.
Adam, I don't want you to be any less than what you are.
Sometimes life doesn't give us any choice.
But it does. You always have a choice.
The joy of books is that you get to act it out for yourself. Things began to happen, and people began to talk about, this new actress, Cicely Tyson, and next thing I knew, I was here in front of you.
African Americans hold Cicely in such high regard. She would only do roles that served us as African Americans. She kept her way, she kept her class, she kept representing us, and she remained Cicely Tyson.
just the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's it, along with her Oscar and Tony and Emmys. It's so amazing just to see that breadth of work. Also, I was introduced to Miss Cloris Leachman on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which I know many of you probably that's how you came to her as well. Or if you're old enough, maybe you saw her in the Last Picture Show. But that was just the tip of the iceberg with her career. Now, I hope that you young Frankenstein fans whinnied when you saw Frau Blucher.
I am Frau Blucher.
Inga, may I present Frau Blucher? After you, Frau Blucher. Blucher!
Oh my goodness. Well, that's Cicely Tyson and Cloris Leachman's work on film. That's not everything. I mean, it's like both of them, I think combined almost 150 years in the business. It's overwhelming, the breadth of work that they have. But today, I just wanted to celebrate their work on Broadway as well. And when they got the call, Cicely Tyson, and I think this was cool that she got her call to be on Broadway in 1959 in a play called Jolly's Progress. It only lasted 1 week, but she was back on Broadway within 2 months in another role. And while carving out an impressive career in great works on film, Miss Tyson found time to come back to Broadway an astonishing 9 times. Now, the first 7 times, they were short runs, but her portrayal of Carrie Watson, Trip to Bountiful, would be her biggest hit and would garner her every major acting award on Broadway, including the Tony Award as Best Actress in a Play at 88 years old. Y'all, 88 years old. Never give up your dream. And she returned 2 years later to star with James Earl Jones in The Gin Game. And I just want to add a quick little story. I put it on my Facebook and my Instagram, but the last time she was on Broadway, I got to go to that opening night, and it was a little mini reunion because when my first job, I was inspired by Pauletta Pearson. Then she's now Pauletta Washington. And Pauletta's boyfriend, Denzel, was up there, and they had just met after working with Cicely Tyson on a TV movie, The Wilma Rudolph Story. And at that opening night was Pauletta's son, John David, he had already done a series, but he was launching in a new movie, and now he's starring in film. And it's like all come together because Cicely was there when Pauletta and Denzel first met, and now John David is carrying on the torch. And it's just that she continues to inspire even to this day, and that's fantastic. Last week, if you saw the show, my guest Valerie Pettiford and I were talking about how wonderful Cloris Leachman was to work with because she and Val had toured in Showboat. Well, I always thought it was cool that this film and television actress finally appeared on stage, but I recently found out that Miss Leachman, she's been treading the board since 1946, y'all. 1946, Cloris Leachman made her Broadway debut in Happy Birthday, and she was attached to The Crucible and Come Back Little Sheba, but she got better jobs, and so she ended up leaving those shows out of town before they reached Broadway. But the biggest surprise is that among her 12 Broadway shows, she was a replacement for Nellie Forbush in 1952 in the original production of South Pacific. Cloris Leachman, South Pacific. I mean, come on. Well, not only, although that picture with the flowers, that was her opening night. And luckily that someone caught that picture, which was so fantastic. But if that picture blows your mind and you have never heard Cloris Leachman sing, there was a video that was just released this week, and it's this is going to blow your mind. It's she and Carol O'Connor in a TV production of Gershwin's Of Thee I Sing.
See, I think we were meant for each other, you and me.
You and I.
Yeah, you and I. It's rain or storm or shine.
Mine, you are mine. Never another Valentine.
I'm yours.
Tell me that I'm yours.
Show me that smile my heart adores. Mine, more than divine. To know that I'm yours is
Had you guys seen that? I mean, I had not seen that. And anyone who went to high school with me knows that I love VI Sing. I got to be in it. And Donna Murphy was Diana Devereaux. And it was so fantastic. And it blew my mind when that came out. And then there's Carol O'Connor singing as well. Phenomenal. I love that I think we have our largest, I see people from Germany here today, Anastasia, college friends, David, Barbara. Oh my goodness. Also, there's Rhonda Kramer from Vegas. She just moved to Vegas, but she's was out in California before. All these West Coast people waiting for Antony Crivello to come. I love it. Hello, guys. How are you? Welcome to our big show celebrating Phantom of the Opera, celebrating the great careers of Cicely Tyson and Cloris Leachman, who we lost this week, and they're both in their 90s. But if you're enjoying the show so far, or if you're enjoying these videos, I invite you to become a patron at patreon.com/Broadway's Calling. It would help us so much, and we can continue to pay the bills here for the show and keep these videos and these episodes coming. And you can just join for $100 a month. That's all you have to. Oh, I know. But y'all ain't gonna do that. I know you're not gonna do that. So join for $25 a month. Okay, you're probably not gonna do that either, because that stimulus check ain't here yet. But that's all right, because we got a friends and family level at $5. $5, y'all. So please consider that. It would really be great. We can keep these lights on, so I can keep my ring light so I can be cute, I got my shadow box. You got my microphone, my fancy microphone here. Well, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. We got things here. We being fancy. So we would love for you to consider joining us. Be part of the Broadway's Calling family, patreon.com. We would love that. All right, enough of that, because y'all, I just want to continue giving some dish. And there's some good dish about Cloris Leachman and Young Frankenstein, because when it was turned into a Broadway musical, Cloris Leachman wanted to play Frau Blucher. Good catch, Julie. She got me. Well, it turned into the Broadway musical, and she wanted to create her role. But Mel Brooks thought that she was too old at 81 to do 8 shows a week. So the part went to the great Andrea Martin. So what did Cloris Leachman do? She went on Dancing with the Stars, y'all. And even though she placed 7th, she proved that she still had the stamina. Well, Mel Brooks saw her on the show, and he decided to then offer her the part in the Broadway musical when Beth Level, who was Andrea Martin's replacement, left the show. Well, sadly, the show closed before Miss Leachman got to give us her live portrayal of Frau Blucher. Well, these two giants, Miss Leachman and Miss Tyson, kept going no matter what the odds or what the calendar dictated. And Miss Tyson even did an interview on Kelly and Ryan's show the day before she passed. And it was befitting that she had just written a book called Just As I Am. Now we can learn so much about our country and our attitudes toward women and minorities in their work. And thankfully, many of their greatest characters are available for all to see. And I hope that you seek out their work. They're fantastic artists and beautiful, and just and that was Cloris Leachman. She was actually a Miss America, a beauty pageant. And here is a toast to them. Andrea Boyer, you're here. And I know that you've made this great. There's Andrea Boyer from Broadway Bites. Andrea has made these fantastic drinks that she was creating for people to maybe have a different way to celebrate Valentine's Day, which is fast approaching in a couple of weeks. But we want to use them to toast these ladies, Cicely Tyson and Cloris Leachman. And I have one. Julie, are you around? Do you have a drink to toast? Oh, yes,
I love it.
Ladies. All right. Now, you guys are wondering, why are our champagne, why are they like different colors? Well, Andrea can explain why they're different colors.
Well, although we tend to go our traditional mimosa, because it is Sunday. So Sunday brunch or Sunday dinner. Late dinner, yeah. And I think it's time to just explore optional flavors. And I think people either use Prosecco or champagne or cava, if you like the Spanish version or variety of sparkling wine. And I personally like mixing the fruits in my champagne or Prosecco. So options like peach, strawberry, blueberries, guava, mango, all of those things just taste phenomenal, and anything that bubbles, right?
Yeah.
I like it. So I thought.
So did you sent us a video?
I did. And I featured one of your favorite flavors, Lance, which is blueberries.
Yep, that's what's in this one.
Strawberries. And I love peaches. And I have to tell you, I mixed the blueberries and the peach, and it was phenomenal as well after. It's so good. Really good.
I love it. Well, those of you who I haven't introduced, Julie Garnier, if you don't know, she's our tech producer.
Hi.
And she's here. That's it's like you were like, wait a minute, who's the other lady coming in?
Hanging out.
Just hanging out with a drink. That is Julie Garnier. And we'll come back, but let's look at Andrea's Bellini video, and then we'll get on with some Phantom of the Opera celebrating.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Y'all, it's a celebration.
It is so many wonderful things to celebrate, whether it be somebody's life and you valued and you appreciated. And these women were so beautiful in so many ways. And that's something to celebrate.
Absolutely.
Celebrate that we're alive right now, right? And we're hanging in there, however we're doing it during this COVID time.
Mm-hmm.
So many things to celebrate in the future. That's how I always like to be positive and think there's goodness to come.
And I'm looking forward to Phantom having that 34th Broadway birthday. I'm already drunk from the champagne. I think the blueberries are getting me.
Let me tell you something really quick. The reason I like the puree fruit besides the juice, because I think a lot of people, it is quicker, right, to go buy just the juice, with the nectar, is that it will give you a more like fruit appearance. So it's like really deep.
Yeah.
It hugs the champagne and the bubbles. So you'll get more of a wow factor in a puree versus a juice.
A juice. Yeah, I love it. Well, I love it. And if you guys want any of the recipes, we are Andrea's gonna have a whole section, a Broadway Bites section on our website, because there are so many recipes over the last few months. And our website is Broadway'sCallingTV.com. So you can check it out. But I think, Andrea, aren't you like a big fan of Phantom of the Opera?
Oh.
Andrea has seen Phantom of the Opera so many times.
This is a spectacular one.
So, yes, that's the one Antony was in. And then, of course, you've seen it on Broadway. And
I don't know how many times. And all over in California, New York, and just everywhere that I've got my hands to see Phantom, I've been there. And London. So, yeah. I almost put the mask on that I had, but I'm like, I don't know. I'll let Antony do that.
Well, I guess. Well, then we have to finish our Bellinis and our drinks and bring Antony Crivello on.
Yeah, I'm excited. Cheers.
Well, here's a video so you can see some of him at work. Ladies and gentlemen, Broadway's calling Antony Crivello.
That was quite an introduction, Lance.
How are you?
I'm terrific. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope the same for you. I know you're expecting big snow on the East Coast right now. And
yes,
we've had our share of rain here on the West Coast as well, with some mudslides, unfortunately, up north. So
yeah, I just heard about the PCH.
Yeah, exactly. In Big Sur.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fantastic. It's so fantastic. Well, you had to be introduced, with the chandelier falling, and that glorious voice. I mean, it's so phenomenal. I love the Phantom of the Opera. I love the musical. I love the actual role. It's like every one of you guys that I've seen in it, it's like I'm rooting for you. It's like I can feel your pain. It's like I don't know if it's like the way you approach it, you know, as an actor or a singer, but I could just like feel it. And even when she takes off the mask, I know it's like with so much love. And I'm like, oh no. Right. It's like,
that's why there's such a universal appeal to the show and why it's lasted, you know, on Broadway for so many years, in London as well. It is because of the central themes of that piece are heartbreaking, and you know, so many people relate to it, and generations now relate to it as well.
Yeah, I know. And then you did it for like what, 6.5 years?
6.5 years, over 2,400 performances.
Wow. Whoa. Now, how involved were the original creators of your production in Las Vegas?
They were all there. You just brought up a picture of Hal Prince.
Yeah.
Hal was there, and we had the luxury, because of the fact that it was a conceptually a new version of the show, with no intermission, and the way that it was constructed. Artie Masala, Hal's assistant director, was there. He began to put the bones of the show up very quickly. And then Al and Gillian Lynn were there immediately, because they were helping to assemble, as well as David Caddick. Right. So we were there, and they were on the phone literally as we were assembling daily with Andrew Lloyd Webber. And saying, here's what we're doing. We're making these certain cuts. We're doing certain things as well. And the cuts were really minor by comparison for the Vegas show. What they did was we lost 22 minutes of intermission. Right. And the other little secret that they did was all of the tempos were slightly picked up.
Oh,
condensed the show by doing that. And we lost one major scene, which we took part of it, which was when after the Phantom gives the company his opera, Don Juan Triumphant. Right. That scene was placed in front of a curtain, and so that the managers were singing "Ludicrous." This is ludicrous. We, instead of in the original Broadway production, where a piano organ starts to play mysteriously by itself, we didn't do that. We went from there into curtains opening up, and through the deck of the floor, there was a facade of the Paris Opera House, and we went into pyrotechnics. Wow. I dare say now that version and the use of pyrotechnics has been subsequently borrowed and reused in future productions of Phantom of the Opera. Now it
keeps growing. I noticed that about Andrew Lloyd Webber. It seems like he's like a kid. He gets so excited about the new things that can be added to his productions around the world. He doesn't think that he's like Disney. It's like Walt Disney said, the park is never finished. And
I'll give you a little side story. Originally, that production in Vegas was $40 million inside a specially built $40 million theater. Unfortunately, you'll never see it done like that again. But originally, the discussions were talking about Andrew had said, we're in Vegas, let's blow out the edges, as with our producer, Scott Tiger from at the time, Base Entertainment. And they were in discussions talking about that we did have a reveal in the theater where the half the theater was covered in dust cloths. Like what we see in the other productions, it's only the proscenium. Half the theater was covered. When that reveal happened, there were 80 mannequins that were in these boxes, was the Paris Opera House. It was a Paris Opera House. They were standing there in period costumes, each one of them dressed, and adults and children, mannequins, overlooking the stage. Andrew had discussed having those people in the boxes either be real actors or animatronic. Wow. And they talked about the possibility of when we went into the lair, that there would be real water cascading on the stage, and it would be a real pool of water. Well, at a certain point, you lose the theatrical magic. And your budget is, 65, that would have been $65 million. They decided against doing that. And that reduced our budget to $40 million.
Wow. A bargain. Such a bargain.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. Now, Hal Prince, he's been a little influential in your career. Here and there.
I can't, and we lost him a few years here now.
It was just his birthday yesterday.
Exactly. It was his birthday yesterday. And he, not only was he a dear friend and a pal, I started with him in Chicago with a touring version of the second national tour of Evita.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was so fortunate from there. I started as an understudy. I took over the role and then went on the road with it. I garnered great reviews, fortunately, knock on wood.
Which role in Evita?
Say again?
You were Che in Evita?
I was Che in Evita.
Yes. Oh, wow. Awesome.
And then he approached me and said, we're the general manager, Howard, at the time, said we're doing a replacement on Broadway. And this was after Mandy and Patty had left, and they said we're going to do a switch. And would you be interested in coming to Broadway? I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll do whatever I said. I'll do whatever he asked me to do. But
was that a dream of yours to be on Broadway, or were you happy in Chicago?
Oh yeah, that was ultimately like one of the goals, one of the on the bucket list, if you will. And so I came into New York City at 24 years old, and my first job in New York was I was Che and Evita on Broadway.
Wow,
Lonnie Ackerman.
Wow, fantastic! Yeah. And Hal was also your director.
Absolutely.
That led you to your Tony Award in Kiss of the Spider Woman.
He was, and it was literally after me leaving Evita. It was 10 years later that he was mounting Kiss. It had been done at SUNY Purchase. It had unfortunately not garnered good reviews. But there were people that were involved that saw it and wanted, including Garth Drabinsky, who wanted to invest in it, who wanted to see that it would move forward. And it was at that point that Hal came to me and said, we're going to do a series of workshops. And the original workshops were myself, Cheetah, and Richard Thomas as Molina.
Oh, okay.
And yes. And Richard was going to, we did I think it was 4 or 5 workshops of it. And then also we were, not only were we working on the show, but also getting some investors involved as well. And at it was Brent Carver, the dear Brent Carver, and now unfortunately departed. Brent was going to be doing the matinees. At the last minute, Richard had a family crisis and had to pull out. And so Brent was a star already in Toronto.
Canada, yeah.
And so Garth said, you know what, let's go to Canada. We'll start there in Toronto at the St. Lawrence Theatre Center. And then from there, we'll decide what we're going to do. Well, we opened to spectacular reviews in Toronto, and they all, Cantor and Ebb and John Cantor, Fred Ebb and Terrence McNally and Hal, and Garth, they all said, it ain't broken. Let's not fix it. And we kept it that way. 6 months in Toronto, 6 months in London in the West End, and then they were looking for a theater, and we came into Broadway just under the wire for the Tony Awards.
Well, it was so exciting because Jerry Christakos, who was in that company with you, left the show that I was doing, the All Night Strut, in Detroit to go do Kiss of the Spider Woman, and that was the first time that I met you guys and saw you in the show. It was amazing. And to see Cheetah Rivera, who had come back, she hadn't been on Broadway in a while because she had been in a terrible car accident.
That's correct.
So, like 6 or 7 years. So that was fantastic to see her. And it was, the show just blows me away. And I had always enjoyed the movie. And for those of you, because Kiss of the Spider Woman isn't revived often, but I hear this talk, everyone wants to bring it back to Broadway. I'm going to show you just a little of Brent Carver and the great Tony Award winning performance. All of them won the Tonys, actually, of Antony Crivello. Check this out, y'all.
Shut up! Thank you very much. Sick with that trissy wine. Watch me now. I draw a line. So you stick to your side and I'll stick to mine. Never, ever cross this line. Why? Not the pot. How about the pot? The pot. It's on your side. What? So when I have to use the pot, I intend to use the pot. What? That's an exception. Oh, gracious one, thanks a lot. Never try to be
Well, I mean, that was a score written by the incredible Kander and Ebb. And so, Anthony, you've now worked with, you've had Andrew Lloyd Webber, Kander and Ebb, and you in the original cast of Les Mis with two other fantastic composers. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, I always had this question because when Les Mis opened, and all of you guys had this long hair, and they weren't wigs. It was like the real long hair. And I was in my 20s, but you know, Broadway is very clean cut. And all of a sudden, these Les Mis guys had this long hair, and it was like, oh my goodness, they were like, what are they radicals, revolutionaries, or what? But you were revolutionaries. I just wanted to know, like, when did they decide to like, why don't you guys like all grow your hair instead of like wigging?
Once we were cast, they said to the entire company, do not cut your hair.
Wow.
And so it was, 3-4 months at least that we had hit that doctrine was put out to us. Don't cut your hair.
Yeah.
And so I let my hair go. It's the 80s, I'm in my, it was in my late 20s, early 30s. And so when I do a role, dramatic or be it in musical, whatever, I throw my entire self into it. And I do what is, I'm fortunate with full hair and beard. I'll do, I'll let that, I come up with try to come up with a defining look for each character as well, as I imagine them after doing research and history. So I let my hair go. A lot of guys in the company said, oh, I'll get one last haircut before I come in, that very thing, clean cut. And I walked in on that first day and I had this full head of hair, and I could see other company members going, oh man, I shouldn't have cut my hair.
Wow.
And Trevor Nunn and John Caird, they immediately were like, that looks great. Keep going, and doing the whole thing with the sideburns and the side with cut on the slight thing.
I mean, it just adds so much authenticity to it. And it's so funny. I was looking in the comments, and again, it's thank you all for being here. This is exciting. But what's really exciting, I'm going to call somebody out because they are a Broadway choreographer and director, Mr. Otis Salid. I see you right there. He's like, good to see you. Hey, Otis, how are you? That's phenomenal. Always doing great work, and a great person to know, and to constantly inspiring young people for many, many, many years. Thank you, Otis, for being here. It's very exciting. And I bet he knows a little something about having his actors really commit. And Anthony is definitely one of those. And again, if you've ever seen him television, film, or on Broadway, you don't know this, Anthony, but I call you like, the musical theater's Al Pacino. I'm like, because but every time I see you, it's like, but the way you work through, it's not like anything artificial. It's just like, you're just like natural. There's a very natural style.
I've always, I'm a member of the Actors Studio, as your departed Cloris Leachman. It was a member of the Actors Studio as well. And actually, a little other tidbit. Cloris lived about, I'd say 2-3 miles away from where I live right now. She was actually in the neighborhood, if you will.
Wow.
And it is that method training, that is espoused by the Actors Studio, and, so that you're looking at, multiple layers of how to approach a character. I actually work teaching as well, and a little bit especially during these COVID days and times, I work with a group called the Broadway Mentors Program.
Yeah.
And so Broadway Mentors Program, and you can look it up, BroadwayMentorsProgram.com, and you just put it up. I'm actually doing an online, there's going to be, I do webinars, and there's on the, it's coming up on the 24th of February. I'm going to be doing a Q&A through that with students, and I'll just answering questions over the course, and and people raise all kinds of questions, and from simplistic to very, very complex, from acting to the other aspects of it. What does it take to have a career, because as you and I both know this, Lance, it's business too.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and so you have to take care of that aspect of it. And as, you know, as performers, as actors, we don't look at, especially for Broadway, you don't look at it as a sprint. It is a marathon.
It is indeed a marathon.
So you have to prepare accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. I even think about like what you said about that it's a marathon. I'll say sometimes like it's also a relay race where it's like, you know, the baton is constantly being passed on. And I think that's great what you're doing with the Broadway Mentors, you know, helping people, like taking what you've experienced, you know, to pass it on to someone else. It could be a peer even. It's like, you know, I could always learn something, you know, none of us knows everything.
That is such a key thing that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
The journey of the artist, the actor, the performer, we learn as we're going along all the way. Look, you were mentioning a few. I had the great fortune of working with some tremendous directors and choreographers and performers who would offer little tidbits of advice, and you know, you model their career. You walk, you know, Cheetah's just that's another one. You know, you just watch how Cheetah handled her career as well. You know, brilliantly so. Or having a conversation, you know, with the likes of the Hal Prince or the Gillian Lynns, or you know, Larry Fuller on Evita. You know, we've been in communication as well because of Facebook, because of this technology, you know, and that's the wonderful thing in the midst of this difficult time with this pandemic is that there's technologies that have emerged and have allowed people to connect in this way. And people offer pieces of advice or whatever. You know, things that I got that we're handing down to students now with this program, Broadway Mentors program and beyond. I mean, you know, the people that are involved with it too are top notch. I mean, one of them was Rebecca Luker, who just passed away. God bless her. And you know, and there's so, you know, Donna McKechnie is one of the mentors. I mean, just the icons, some icons of the theater who have had the experience of a long career and able to pass that on to this next generation as well.
It's invaluable experience, and it's like just like having you here. I mean, this is it. I'm inspired. I'm reminded, and then you mentioned Cheetah, talking about how to pivot. I'll never forget the story when they were rehearsing the original Chicago back in '75, and Mr. Bob Fosse had a heart attack and they had to close down the show, and Cheetah was like, didn't have any money and was like, what are we going to do? And she pivoted. That's when she created her show Cheetah Plus 2.
Yep.
It was like, come on, y'all. She got 2 dancers. I think it was Chris Chadman and maybe Tony Stevens. Yep. And they just put an act together and they went out there and they did what they did. I mean, I sort of feel like that's what this is about. You know, creating, you know, a show, you know, while we're waiting to get back onto the stage. And I've been so inspired by all the people that I see on Facebook coming up with things, either writing plays or even making stuff, making things to like share and to sell. No one's getting rich from it, but they're just doing things. And it's so important.
Well, I mean, I write as well, and I've used it. I've used the platform as well to do readings, for instance, as well. And so to check out material, to work. The great thing is, again, because of this platform, you can work with actors that are across the country and sometimes, you know, around the globe, depending upon the situation.
Right.
And Lance, you know, you've created a wonderful platform here as well. It is so informative for so many people. Not only is it looking at pieces of theater history, but also providing that additional information that is invaluable to these young students as well.
And hopefully some inspiration to see, you know, to hear from people like you, and you're talking like Cheetah, which I have to like get her onto the show. It's like that would be such an honor. It's like to have her on, because I would love to hear those stories also, because she's been connected to so many pieces that have like been benchmarks in theater history. So I have to make sure I have her on there. But I just hope that people are just inspired inspired, by like watching you work, seeing you as the Phantom or in Kiss of the Spider Woman, or I have a little surprise that I have to show everyone a little later before we say goodbye. But it's just that kind of work I think is constantly inspiring. But I had something to ask you, because whenever I'm working at Lincoln Center, I see the Marie Christine poster, and it's like Audra's eyes. I keep seeing it. And then one day I realize, I'm like, wait a minute, who's that person? I know that person. It's like, and I saw the show because I went to see it because my late dear friend Sean Elliott was in the show.
Oh yes,
and so Donna and I went to go see the show, and I loved the show. It was Medea set in New Orleans, and I just thought that was so brilliant. But that poster was like captivating, and it dawned on me. I said, wait a minute, wasn't Antony Crivello in that? And I kept wondering. I had to Google. I'm like, wait a minute, let me look at this poster again. I think that's Antony Crivello in the poster.
That's me in the flesh.
In the flesh, nothing but flesh. It's crazy.
And we shot that photo. Audra and I shot that photo on the first. I was like the first day of rehearsal. Oh my God. And I mean, it was the first time we had, and my only time I had working with the wonderful Audra McDonald. So it was like, okay, talk about being thrust into a situation where you're going to get to know each other very well, very quickly.
Very, very well. Very well. And that was like a little early in her career. Also,
it was sort of mid of career. She had, at that point, I mean, God knows. I mean, she's garnered deservedly so many awards. And
so wonderful. She's very similar to you too. It's like, great singers who happen to be phenomenal actors, which I still think like, our best singing stars are very, very good actors. It is so important.
You don't work with the likes of a Hal Prince unless you're an actor too,
right?
And an all around talent. He had a tremendous eye for talent, and I'm not just talking about on the stage. The designers that he worked with. Look at the designers as well, and the company that he kept accordingly. My dear departed friend who also passed away just shortly after this year after Brent had passed, Hal Binkley, the lighting designer.
Oh yeah,
Hal was our lighting designer for Kiss of the Spider Woman. We maintained a long, close friendship for years, and Kiss of the Spider Woman was Hal's first opportunity to work with Hal as well. Hal had seen his work with Parsons Dance, and liked it, and said, "I'm doing this." Called him in and said, "I'm doing this new show. It's it's very cutting edge. Kiss of the Spider. I want you to light it. You want the job, kid?" And, and that was the beginning of a wonderful relationship.
Great relationship.
Artistic collaboration.
Yeah, Hal was really a lighting genius. It was such a loss, and a great guy. I mean, it's fun hanging out with him.
Tremendous guy.
Great guy. Well, you're talking about the Actor Studio, which I think Joanna Reinhardt is here, and Joanna also is at Actor Studio also. But like, Highland, such a fun show. I love Bellinis. Yes, I bet. Oh my goodness, they're so good, and I wish I had more, but no, I don't, because I drink it all. But Antony, doing the drama studying, we think, Actor Studio, serious actors, but I've seen you be very, very funny as well. And there is something that you did on television, which I remember seeing it originally, and whenever it's in reruns, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know where you're going.
Well, I want y'all to check this out. It's like Actor Studio means drama. It means comedy. It means Seinfeld. Check this out right here.
You're Steinfeld?
Yeah.
My name is Maxwell. I'm from Made to Order. It's a pun. I sent one of my girls over to your place.
Cindy.
She says she had a little problem with you. You didn't pay.
She didn't really do what she was supposed to do.
Oh, yeah? She told me what you like. You're a little sicky, aren't you? Disinfecting on the blinds, vacuuming the couch.
Hey, come on. I gotta live around here.
You know what I do to people who stiff me on a job?
What?
Well, it kind of depends on the situation. But if I don't get my money from you, I'm gonna get it from her.
I don't want any trouble. You want the money here?
Oh, hey, whoa. Give it to the girl. I'm an independent contractor. Tax purposes.
Tax purposes. Is that, did you think that was the one I was going to show?
Yeah, I was when you said in reruns, I knew. I mean, that happens all the time. I had another scene. I shot one scene with Jerry and one scene with Michael Richards Kramer at the very end, which was the tag scene as well. And it gets a lot of airplay as well. So somebody said to me after I got done shooting, it said, "Do you realize that you're now a part of sitcom history?" And I went, "Yeah, I guess I am."
Yeah.
And it just plays repeatedly all the time now. What a wonderful company, that entire Seinfeld company. I had the pleasure of knowing some of them actually through my Chicago theater days, and I'm very still involved with the Chicago theater scene too, where I cut my teeth. But worked with people outside of that scope. But again, it was Julia Louis Dreyfus is married to a dear, and I know Julia too, and worked with Julia doing Geppetto with as well at Disney.
Oh, right, yeah,
with Drew Carey, but she's married to Brad Hall, who's a dear friend of mine. Megan Mullally was in a company that I did, Do Black Patent Leather Shoes, really reflect up in Chicago, and we had so many people through that, within that Chicago community as well. It's such a great place for young actors.
Great actors there.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the likes of what's going on there to this day. Steppenwolf and The Goodman and Chicago Shakespeare Theater and on and on and on. It's just such a great theater city.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I worked there. I've only worked there once, but I got to work with like so many great actors. Felicia Field, if you know Felicia, who was there. It's just like I can't wait I want to have like a Chicago version of Broadway's Calling.
I mean, again, I'm mentioning theaters, also Second City. It's what we say with comedy. It is, and I studied at Second City a little bit with Del Close, and so, which led me to doing a little bit of improv, even in New York City with off Broadway with Chicago City Limits, and made many friends that I'm still friends with to this day from that improv scene. I mean, that wasn't quite my path, but it was that whole improv and even the study of comic improv as well. It lends itself so much not only to this kind of comedy obviously with Seinfeld, but stuff on stage as well, being able to do that. You look at the example you said, Cloris Leachman, Last Picture Show, and then going to
Mary Tyler Moore Show. It's like she can do it all. Yeah,
tremendous. She's known as a comedic icon too. And it's both of those hands in your craft. One washing the other and supporting you.
Well, it's fantastic. Well, people who want to hear more of Tony or Antony Crivello, he's going to be doing a master class with the Broadway's mentors, and we'll put up the website, and you can find out more information and hear more. What else does he have to offer? And I know that there's tons. I might be signing up myself.
There's a few projects on. We got a project I was involved with that got postponed, but because of COVID. But hopefully, some things coming down the pike as well.
Oh, well, that's really exciting. Well, more importantly, because what's coming up is the Super Bowl. So I need to know, Kansas City or Tampa Bay?
Well, those who know me very well know I'm originally from Wisconsin and had my heart broken by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so it's a tremendous matchup. I'm a diehard Wisconsin sports and Green Bay Packer fan. But
I was just talking about the play Lombardi today.
Yeah,
with Green Bay Packers.
Talk about I was in the city of Milwaukee, and that's my childhood, is the Lombardi era.
Yeah.
So what a tremendous influence that is on all Wisconsinites. But I got to say, I would say Kansas City.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying Kansas City. I say that with the modicum of reservation because Tom Brady, has time and time again proven so many people wrong. And as much as we may have the Packer fans, we may have an MVP this year in Rodgers, and that would be his third time. But Tom Brady is, as they say, the GOAT. I mean, he is the greatest of all time as far as quarterbacks. And I'm saying that I'm a football fanatic, and I say that with the likes of all the kinds of great quarterbacks that have been there, the Joe Montanas and the Dan Marinos, and I go back, like I said, Lombardi era, Bart Starr. What Brady has been able to do in his career is just unbelievable.
It's phenomenal. Well, we are going to have a pregame show next week. I love it. Because it's like people don't realize how many Broadway shows have to do with sports, and we're gonna have some fun with them.
I didn't say it. This project that I'm doing is I did it before at the Milwaukee Rep. It's a one-man play about the life of the Hall of Fame coach and NBC broadcaster Al McGuire. It's his life. It was written by the Hall of Fame broadcaster Dick Enberg. And so I got to work with Dick, and another, God rest his soul. He's an icon as well in that arena, and has been the voice of so many different sporting events. And I'm not talking just football, baseball, Olympics, tennis, and I can go on and on and on.
Wow!
And he wrote this piece about Al McGuire that because of his admiration for him and his relationship, Al McGuire was such a maverick, and so to crawl, and ironically, it is literally, I believe it's this week is the 20th anniversary of McGuire's death, and McGuire was the head basketball coach at Marquette University, which is my alma mater. And so it's like literally coming full circle, then playing Al McGuire. And it was it's a long story. I won't get into all of it and how it happened. But my freshman year at Marquette University, on a dare with two other buddies of mine who were theater students, we went and tried out for the Marquette cheerleading squad, and we got on. And so I was a Marquette cheerleader for 1 year.
Wow.
And so I was literally 20 feet away from the man that, and who, and like had conversations with him, and who would have thought that all these years later that I would be portraying that individual. And so what a tremendous opportunity that has been.
Full circle.
So with a little bit, hopefully, we're still, we got delayed because of postponed because of COVID, but hopefully we'll find solutions, and at some point I'll be portraying Al McGuire once again.
Well, hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yes,
it's like we won't put any money on it unless it's GameStop. No, just kidding. No, but anyway, I just wanted to invite all of you to come see our pregame show next week, so you can see how we mix the theater and sports all together before the Super Bowl, which I'm not a huge football fanatic, but I love the Super Bowl. I think it's an American tradition, and I know a lot of people think it's too violent or everything, but it's really going to be different next week. Amanda Gorman is going to be there reciting poetry. There's going to be a new level to this Super Bowl next week. So I'm a little excited to see where they're going with it. And y'all, that is great theater. You got a conflict. You got an intermission.
How many, and you know this as well as I, when you're doing a Broadway matinee, and the guys at the front, at the stage door, or behind the scenes, they got the TVs turned on to the sporting events.
Right.
Our dear friend Tony Shalhoub. Tony's a dear friend of mine. We did we've known each other because Tony's also from Wisconsin. He's originally from Green Bay, and we did Golden Boy together and it really cemented our friendship. And we're both diehard Packer fans. So during games, we're texting and in back and forth, and being armchair coach and quarterbacks and trying to figure everything out.
I love it.
It's so much a part of also just behind the scenes, the Broadway scene as well, and theater.
It really is. It really, the worlds really do collide, and I'm going to have fun putting the show together for next week. Well, this has been phenomenal. I'm so glad that we finally got you onto the show, and it's been really exciting. And also, if anyone wants to know any of those recipes, you can check our Instagram or our, like I said, our website, thebroadwayscallingtv.com. We'll put all of Andrea's recipes on there so you can get ready. And I know that Andrea has a bunch of dips that, we were talking about for Super Bowl, but I'm going to talk to her, and she doesn't know this, but I'm hoping that Andrea will maybe release a couple of her dips on the Instagram and on the website this week, so you can be making the dips and be ready for the Super Bowl and watch our pre-game show next week, y'all. So I just say thank you very much, Mr. Antony Crivello.
Yes, I thank you so much
for your time and your inspiration. And I'm Lance Roberts. So I say to all of you to stay safe, stay sane, and keep a little Broadway in your life. Thank you, Antony, and peace.